person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. Now take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you when I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. On every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. We come together. 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 We come together in the name of love. One, two, three. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. To you. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Here we go. Now let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa, and thank you to our inspiring band and our wonderful Easter choir that we have for waking us up with that fabulous music. My name is Reverend Russ Laguerre, and I am so glad to be here with you today. I'm the assistant minister here at the center. And before we embark upon our Easter journey today, I want to throw a special thank you out there to Cheryl Paulus and Anna Castillo, who spent quite a bit of time arranging these beautiful flowers that we have here on our stage behind me, here in front of me. So thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Anna. You're both amazing. Now, if you happen to be joining us for the first time or the first time in a long time, we especially want to welcome you here. And please know that your children are also very welcome here. During our 11 a.m. service, we have childcare for your infants and toddlers, and we also have spirit-centered programming for all of your elementary students, your middle school students, and we also have a teen program that's just around the corner. So stay tuned for that. Yes, I know, it's very exciting. I'm so thrilled for that. Please know, too, that if your children aren't quite ready for being part of our youth program, they're also welcome to sit with you here in the sanctuary. We also have our family room back there in the corner behind the glass, and we have a coloring table out in our social hall if you want to sit with your child and color with them, which I hear our adults love to do. Yes, we love coloring. If you're wanting to get more plugged into our youth and family program, too, you can send an email to Jennifer Caldwell, our youth coordinator at youth@cslsr.org. She's also here in service. She's wearing bunny ears back there, and she will be in our social hall to talk with you if you have any questions or you're wanting to get plugged in or volunteer to work with our children here at the center, because we're always looking for more volunteers. Also, welcome live stream viewers. We're so thrilled to have you with us online. And live streamers, if you love watching us online, please consider sharing us with your friends, with your family by clicking that shiny share button at the bottom of your screen. That's a big help for us to share this message, especially when we have this wonderful Easter service here that is already turning out to be pretty fabulous. Also, if you're new here, we recognize that sometimes it can be a little challenging trying to find your way in a new community. And so we have all kinds of resources and materials for you at our information desk, as well as people who can answer any question that you have about our center, what we believe, what we practice here, and how you can get connected to all of these amazing people that are in this audience today and beyond. Now, at the Center for Spiritual Living here in Santa Rosa, we are motivated by a vision of a healthy, loving world. And it's known as the global vision, and it calls us to imagine a world that works for everyone. And we see a world in which every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with the divine and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively, we are called to a higher state of consciousness in action. And we follow our vision through the 5 core spiritual practices of our teaching. And would you please read those with me? Spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, spiritual circulation. And if it turns out that you are wanting to take a little bit of a deeper dive into those 5 spiritual practices, we actually have an upcoming May class called The 5 Pillars of a Spiritual Life that Dr. Edward, myself, and maybe some other surprise guests are going to be teaching. And it's a great way to take a next step into all of these spiritual practices and to find the ways that they can help you to enrich and uplift your life. So if that sounds interesting, we've got all of that information on our website, as well as everything else that's going on here is on our website, cslsr.org. So I know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, the prayer, the practices, and Dr. Edwards' message today is exactly what you need to experience for the next step of your spiritual journey. Please know you are so very welcome here. Now sit back and enjoy some music before our opening prayer.
Still my mind, still my mind, be at peace, be at peace, in my awakening, I release, with my heart, free my soul. In my awakening, I am whole. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. As I love, as I in my awakening, I choose to live, with my strength, You're good. Shine your light, in my awakening, clear my sight. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
There is only one, and from within every being and every place, this infinite presence shines forth, moving ever forward. The sacred and eternal one, with a joyful voice and loving heart, shares its wisdom, healing, and grace with all. I am one with this sacred power, as are all of us gathered here, along with our viewers online. This is the truth of our being and wholeness. As we celebrate this beautiful Easter morning, the love in our message and music abounds, lifting our hearts. Each one who is touched by our center is nourished by these gifts. And we are vibrant and strong with peaceful and calm hearts. Our youth and family ministry, our children and young people thrive. Together, we are vibrant and strong, and all that we share enlivens us, enlivens our center, and heals our world. I am grateful for this time and this truth. I release this word, and so it is. Good morning. I'm Reverend Sayota, your spiritual support minister. Please join me in today's affirmation. I make friends with uncertainty, knowing it is a part of the wholeness of life.
One power, one power, one power. One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul and it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, oh, one power, 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 one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. One power.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning, and happy spring to you, and happy Easter to you, and happy Passover, and happy vernal equinox, and all the things to be happy about. May you be happy with all of them. In case you, like many of our members and friends at the center, do not come from a Christian background, Easter is the main festival of the Christian tradition, and it celebrates the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth. At the same time, this is also, this whole season is filled up with new birth, and nature is returning, and spring is emerging, and it's also the time when the Jewish world is observing Passover, commemorating that spiritual journey into freedom from oppression. And it's also the time of the vernal equinox, which for many traditions is the start of the new year. That's when the year starts. And also the Hindu world just recently completed its festival of color called Holi. And that is a celebration of a new beginning and of new love and of spring and of life. There's a lot going on to celebrate in the world right now. Renewal is calling us. So whether you are of a Christian origin or something else, there is an opportunity at this time, this season, for us to pause and consider life and the splendid mystery of how it continues, renews, and changes all the time. Whatever metaphor you look through. I just returned from a vacation with my partner. We had talked about going away on vacation somewhere in March or April, after my schedule cleared up a little bit. And neither of us had been to Japan, so we said, why not? Let's go to Japan. So we got all busy planning to go to Japan and looking at flights and hotels. And at some point, we just started scratching our head because everything was so booked up. And flights were so expensive, and we wondered why. And then we realized, oh my goodness, we had unknowingly picked the height of Japan's famous cherry blossom season for our visit. It's a time when the entire nation of Japan comes to see one of nature's most spectacular displays, blooms. It dominates the entire country, and indeed people from all over the world come. So some trivia first. Did you know that the cherry blossom capital of the world is right here in the United States, Macon, Georgia? Right. It's got more than 350,000 cherry trees. Yeah. And did you know, you probably do, that Japan, I think it was in the 1900s, sent a gift of several thousand, I think, cherry trees to Washington, D.C., and they bloom every spring. So you don't have to fly 5,000 miles to see this phenomenon. You can see it right here in the United States. Cherry blossoms are the national flower of Japan, and they're known as sakura. And they represent to the Japanese people renewal and optimism. Because as spring returns, each pink and sometimes white blossom emerges as a beautiful and visual announcement that winter is ending and spring is returning, but in a very special way that I learned all about. And the word that comes to mind for this special way is ephemeral, meaning lasting only briefly, and then it's gone. But it comes back, just not the same as it was. That's the Easter message. That's the spring message. Each new season brings a new bloom. Life continues, but it doesn't stay the same. There's a vulnerability in that, one that can crack us open to life. You see, the shortness of the cherry blossom season, and it's just over a week, 2 weeks, it's a reminder to be present for life, to notice and to embrace the changes that are part of the natural flow of things. And because the season is so short, there's a lot of attention on it. And you got to pay attention, or you could miss it. Of course, it will come again. There's always next year. But this one, this season, when it's here, can I be present for it? I find that to be a lovely message for my life right now. Can I be present for what is here? Because it's the only time it will ever be here. For about 1,200 years, the exact time of the sakura bloom has been recorded, and it's been relatively dependable. But recently, world temperature increases have been changing the timing of the bloom, and it's becoming earlier and earlier and earlier. So this year, I got to visit it in the first week of Japan, right in the middle of the bloom, the first week of April. And so during the time I was there, I could see the cherry trees changing in that short time. So I walked along canals, and where heavy branches were heavily hanging over with pink blossoms dangling over the water, dropping them. And I walked through parks where fluttering petals were raining down each time a breeze shook a branch, littering the paths with beautiful pink snow. And it seemed like all of Tokyo's 14 million citizens, plus half of the world, was there with me to see it. And I wondered, why are all these people coming here? Well, for one of the reasons I've already mentioned, it's absolutely beautiful to witness. And there is another reason. In Japan, there is a cultural awareness of the impermanence of things. Not as something tragic, rather something to be loved and cherished. Not as something to cling to, but as something to witness with awe. So the cherry blossom season illustrates this. It illustrates it because it's both short and it also returns. And when it returns, it looks the same, but it's not. I'll be honest with you, I struggle with impermanence. I've been on a lifelong journey of what's that 12-step prayer? Accepting the things I cannot change. Not in a defeated way, but rather like that, taking in a deep breath of inspiration, the kind that one takes when they see the Grand Canyon for the first time and realize how vast it is, and yet it's been changing for centuries. Like the kind of breath one takes in when they see their grandchild for the first time, and love just emerges. Because it's in cases like these that we may find that awareness that we are witnesses to this ephemeral, magnificent, evolving, changing life experience. So the cherry blossom is kind of like an invitation to pay attention to life's moments. Not only the Grand Canyon moments, but to have as much of it as we can, to be present for it by accepting life as a moving, evolving, changing experience, because there is life after the bloom. There's the green of summer, the thinning out of the fall. And there's the reality that some of us move on to other experiences of being, leaving the next bloom to be witnessed by those who stay behind. Many people, for this reason, struggle with change. I know, I've been there, still am sometimes. I'm on this lifelong journey, as I said, to be at peace with change, both those changes that I want and those that I'm surprised that I have to face. I'm even teaching a class on embracing change in June. You know how it is, you teach the thing that you need to most learn. And in this class, we'll be exploring the idea that behind all change is something permanent, something eternal upon which all external events depend for their existence. And so we'll explore the nature of change and also the role that worry and uncertainty play in making it sometimes difficult for us to move forward with change. And we'll see if we can develop a sense of adventure for change. So the first part of this spring message is life continues, evolves, and returns. And the second part of the message is, and in addition to accepting the inevitability of the changes, we can also participate in life in a creative way. We don't have to be completely passive. So at the Center for Spiritual Living, we learn not only to embrace change, but also to be part of engineering change. So that's the rest of that 12-step prayer. Accept the things I cannot change, and also the courage to change the things that I can. It's both and. So we learn to use our imaginations to set new directions for our lives, for the planet, for our cities, for our community. So there's a balance between going with the flow and forging new paths of creativity. And so we learn to become aware of what life is, but not to get bogged down by what we've become used to. We learn to open our minds to allow new possibilities to flow in so that we can keep on growing in our experience forever and forever in this world and the next, whatever that may be. There is a phrase in our teaching that comes to mind: mental equivalent. Now, you have a mental equivalent, and I have a mental equivalent. for everything. A mental equivalent is nothing more than how I view and experience the world. So, for example, if I say the word chair, something probably popped into your mind. You likely have at least one mental equivalent for a chair, an image for what it means to you. You likely have some history that informs that image. You have a regular or normal chair equivalent. And yet, not all chairs are like the one in your mental equivalent. And right there is where creative potential exists. Can I expand my mental equivalent to let in more of life's possibilities so that each new spring, some of my intentions can grow me and accept more? And I can do that by asking myself, what newness wants to be born in my life right now? I love that question. What newness wants to appear in my life right now? And I don't always know how exactly to answer it. Sometimes I need a little help to expand my imagination, to expand it beyond what I've known, beyond what I've accepted up until now, because I tend to get used to what I have called normal and accept it. So I want to share with you another experience I had in Japan. It was an experience of expanding my mental equivalent. But first, let me set the scene to give you an example of something that happened right here in Santa Rosa. Some of you know that recently we hosted our movement's annual convention right here at our center, and people came from all over to be here. And one of my colleagues, another minister, walked into the sanctuary right there into that door and stood there for a moment and looked around and started crying. I went over to ask her what was going on, and she said, "I've just had my mental equivalent blown up. I had no idea that a center for spiritual living could be this beautiful. I've been thinking too small," she said to me. She said, "I've become so used to what I have that it is now normal for me and I don't think beyond it. But today, I have a new normal, a new mental equivalent." And I loved witnessing that renewal in her eyes. I could see the possibilities starting to move like gears in her head. Something new was taking place in her consciousness. Maybe it had always been there, but it just needed a nudge to crack the egg open, to let a new experience, a new wonder emerge. I had a similar experience for myself in Japan. You see, in addition to seeing an immense, natural, beautiful expression in nature in a huge urban city, I also got to witness a whole new way of being that expanded my mind. You see, Tokyo is one of the largest and most populous cities in the world. And there is no garbage anywhere. And hardly a single garbage can to see. Not a cigarette butt, not a plastic bag, not a spilled cappuccino. Nada. Nothing. To the point where when my partner and I saw a candy wrapper on the subway floor, we stopped to take a photograph of it. It was that out of place. Up until my visit to Tokyo, my mental equivalent for cities was limited to my normal, to what I'd become used to. And I guess I have accepted that as the only way it can be. I expect cities to be Well, you've likely been to a city recently, haven't you? And I think some part of me just gave up, kind of just waiting for it to all collapse. But then I visited Tokyo, and I had the ceiling of my mental equivalent blown up. Now, I don't know much about the culture or how that all came to pass or what is below the surface that I don't know about, but I do know that my mental equivalent has expanded. My awareness is different. I have a new, reborn idea of what a city can be, and I like it. And I like it also for me. Now, maybe that vision was always in me, and it's come alive in a very personal way, because now I'm all about cleaning up my act, my home, my car, my consciousness, my life, my commitments, my agreements, what I leave behind. Because while I am here, experiencing this ephemeral life, I want to be reborn frequently into new ideas of how to be. I don't want to just settle for normal. So I ask myself this season of renewal, where else can I expand my acceptance? Where else can I come back to life? And how will I do it? Well, here are some of the ways I know about how to do it, and maybe you have your own list. Spiritual study is one of the ways we can expand our acceptance. It's like the flagship of our teaching, study. Nature is a teacher of expansive thinking. I remember seeing a sign once that said, "Go outside, the graphics are awesome." Travel is a mind expander, and you don't need to fly 5,000 miles to travel. You know, I just went for a walk through downtown Santa Rosa yesterday afternoon to look and see and witness, note the changes now and 30 years ago. It's mind expanding. Art, poetry, literature, dance, always more powerful than any social media platform. And anything and everything that nudges the individual mind to expand so that spring, each new spring when it comes around, has an opportunity to be. So I'll tell you something I did, and I invite you to do it. Delete Facebook. I did. Delete Instagram. I did. Cut down on your phone screen time by 2/3 because it'll make your phone smarter. And it'll help you, as it has helped me to notice, that right now and forever, there is a spring of some kind happening. And you are its witness and participant. And imagination plays as an important role as participation in this process of renewal. I'm aware that to grow in life, I have to mentally put myself in the picture as a participant. For example, when I'm imagining, like our vision for our movement, a world that works for everyone, now I have a new mental equivalent of everyone picking up after themselves, respecting each other and the environment, being mindful. And now I get to put myself in the picture and ask, what's my part to play in this? How am I showing up, and how can I show up? And it reminds me of Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements with his invitation to dream a new dream. And we'll do a bit of that at the end of the message today. But first, I want to go back to that idea of being at peace with change while also being aware of that which never changes, by asking, what doesn't change? And the closest human experience that I can think of is love, agape love, not romantic love, agape love. I told my godson, there is nothing you can ever do that will stop me from loving you. And I meant it. You see, my grandmother told me the same thing. And I remember the impact of that on me. Now, my godson was very connected to me when he was 6 years old, and as he grew up through his pre-teens, and he grew up, and with each spring, he changed. And his attention moved on. And he became fascinated with a larger world. And I longed for that kid who thought I was fascinating. And I tried to hold on, by staying in contact, sending gifts. And then years went by and I wouldn't hear from him. Years. And then one day, he texted me. Oh, it was like a cherry blossom spring for me, But it wasn't the same blossom. He was a whole new version of himself. The same human, but a different expression. But what was the same was the love. And I can see now how I might get distracted in life by focusing on what isn't present anymore. By focusing on what has been withdrawn. By focusing on what is no longer available. By focusing on what isn't the same anymore. And so I'm learning again this spring to give myself over to what is actually present. So that when life shows up, I am available to it. So that I can take that deep breath of inspiration and witness it. And also to practice imagining myself in it in a greater way. Now, I mentioned Don Miguel Ruiz's Dreaming the New Dream, and I have adapted his meditation for time and for content for our purpose today. So I invite you to close your eyes or to keep them open if that feels good for you, and to let these words be for you a guide. And if any words in this meditation do not feel comfortable or appropriate for you, just step back from them and adjust them with your own words silently in your head. I invite you to forget everything that you have learned in your whole life. This can be the beginning of a new understanding and a new dream. Your perception of reality is changing and evolving and can at any time, because you have within you a creative power. So why not dream a different dream? Why not use your mind and your imagination and your emotions to dream a new heaven? Imagine you have the ability to see the world with different eyes whenever you choose. See yourself living a new life, a new dream. It's a life where you don't need to justify your existence, and you are free to be who you really are. Imagine that you have permission to be happy and to really enjoy your life. Imagine your life is free of conflict with yourself and with others. Imagine living your life without fear of expressing your dreams. Imagine you're not afraid to ask for what you need, to say yes or no to anything or anyone. Imagine living your life without the fear of being judged by others or yourself. Imagine you have no need to control anyone, and no one controls you either. Imagine living your life without judging others, and that you have dropped the need to be right, and you don't need to make anyone else wrong, and you respect yourself as well as everyone else. Imagine living without fear of loving, without fear of not being loved. Imagine you are no longer afraid to be rejected, and you have no need to be accepted. And that you can say, I love you, with no shame or justification. Imagine walking through this world with your heart completely open, living your life without being afraid to take a risk or to explore life. Imagine you are not afraid to lose anything. You're not afraid to be alive in the world, and you're not afraid to move on from it. Imagine that you love yourself just the way you are, that you accept your body just the way that it is, that you love your emotions just the way that they are. I recognize one spirit in and through all creation as being the source of all that is. It is the foundation upon which all renewal and birth is based. And it is the creative source of that which gives rise to everything. I recognize and salute both the eternal and the ephemeral. I recognize and salute both the continuity of life and the changes within it. And I say yes to being a witness to life through my awareness. Today I give thanks for the persistence of universal life, of universal love, as my guide and my teacher now and in each life expression to come. And I invite you to take a deeper breath than the one before, so that as we exhale together, we bring this time of meditation to a close by saying gently together the words we always say, and so it is. And once again, a deep breath in, followed by a sigh, as we make the transition to one of the practices we saw up on the slide earlier, spiritual circulation, which is the practice of honoring, acknowledging, appreciating, giving, receiving, forgiving, all the things that keep us in the circulation of our spiritual life. So I invite you right now to think about a time when the center really was here for you, blessed you. Maybe it was a message or a class or an event or a song or somebody said something helpful and useful for your life's journey. And I invite you to think right now about your being there for the center. Perhaps it was a volunteering moment, or you being right here in the sanctuary with community as a way of contributing, or you supported it financially with your gifts or your expertise, so that we can feel the unity of our experience because we are creating the center together. Right now is the time for our financial offering time. I ask the ushers to stand. There are all kinds of ways to participate. The old school way of dropping an offering into the basket as it comes around is still very popular among us. Some people like to text to give, and that's becoming popular too. And there are other ways to contribute digitally, touchlessly, that are available on our website. However you give, won't you please place your hand on your chest as a symbol of your heart connection to the center and say after me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does great work in the world. And so it is. Ushers, please receive the gift.
We've got to be the change we want to see, be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe, be the change we want to see, and be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe. Won't you join us? We've got to be the change we want to see, and be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe, be the change we want to see, and be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe. Let's hear you, ready? We've got to be the change we want to see, be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe, be the change we want to see, be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe. We've got to be the change we want to see, and be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe, be the change we want to see, be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe. Last time. We've got to be the change we want to see, and be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe, be the change we want to see, and be the gift we want to receive, sing the songs we want to hear, walk in faith. We want to believe.
Thank you again for all of the gifts that you have to share. We truly exist because of you and because of your generosity. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I only have a couple of announcements before we get back to our music and close out our service today. And the first one is that our wonderful Being and Belonging group is meeting on Zoom today at 1:30 p.m. to be in conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how all three of these things help to affirm a deeper expression of oneness in the world. So you can join that conversation by clicking on the photo of the rainbow-colored sand on our website. Also, this Saturday, Donna Lamke is going to be teaching a introduction to Jinsen Jitsu, which is a method of placing hands to facilitate healing and balance within the body. So you can join her this Saturday, and that's here in person at our center from 1 until 3 p.m. And if you'd like to join this, you can register on our website by clicking on the photo of course, the hand with a rainbow on it. Isn't that great? Also, as Dr. Edward hinted, we've got a number of really wonderful classes that are coming up in May and June. And this May, Dr. Edward is going to be teaching the 5 pillars of spiritual life. And we also have a class from practitioner Elias Owens, who's teaching the art and science of spiritual mind treatment. And you heard an example of spiritual mind treatment with Reverend Sciota's opening prayer, Dr. Edward's closing prayer today. And it's a really wonderful way to find our way into that ability to accept change in life and to facilitate change where we are able to facilitate change. Both of those are going to be great classes. I encourage you to sign up today, and you can do that on our website by clicking on either the photo of the pillars for 5 pillars of spiritual life, or the photo of the, I'm blanking on what that photo is here, so just know that there is a photo that you can click on for that particular class. It's the photo of the water, a drop of water, like a water and then a drop of water going in there is for Art and Science of Spiritual Mind Treatment. So that's all that I have today, and thank you very much for being here. Happy Easter.
Thank you, Reverend Russ. One of the things that happens when we allow ourselves to be present for life, it can surprise us with bringing into our experience things that we weren't expecting, but you have to be present, right, for it. So for those who are present right here in the room, there's a surprise. We have an infestation. The Easter Bunny, in the form of Jennifer Caldwell, has placed Easter eggs under every alternate chair. So if you just reach under your chair, and if you find nothing there, just move over one chair. There you go. And inside of it is an Easter surprise for you. So with that in mind, I invite you to stand with your Easter egg saying something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is. And just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you're guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly, so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence within. And so it is. And if you would like prayer support after service, please go to our host in that direction, and they will connect you with a prayer practitioner who is available after the service for in-person prayer in the sanctuary. Now let us close our service with song. Thank you for being here.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit